I've got to get the shop cleaned out so I can kind of get back to work. Squirrels, I haven't been able to show you that. I literally have not been able to bring myself to show you that. Squirrels got into the attic and destroyed the shop. There was no ceiling in there, as you recall, just vapor barrier and insulation. That is gone, and it's all over the inside of the shop. It's completely destroyed. I've managed to get the squirrels out. You guys can see that I put battens in between all the boards, and I've got wire mesh up in the soffits, and I closed everything up from the backside, and I literally spent months getting those frickin' squirrels out. Now it's just a matter of cleaning it up and returning it all to service. And we're back. Hi folks, Doc here. It's been a long, hard road reaching this point, but I've reached this point. I am back. Now, I've posted, a bunch of videos over the last while where I did a video on this or I did a video on that, but I wasn't truly back, so to speak. Squirrels destroyed my shop. Some of you have already heard whispers of this, and I alluded to it in a prior video, and they really did wreck the joint. It was completely unusable. I actually went back and realized that it had actually been 2 years since I shot my last in-shop video. And it was just a combination of factors that all kind of culminated together to me not working in the shop. And in that dead space, squirrels broke in. They bred like frickin' mice, and they ransacked the joint. I had vapor barrier and insulation all in the ceiling, as you're probably aware, and you can see by the different colors of insulation. I had insulation in the walls, and I had never finished it. And the reason that I had never finished it was partially because I didn't really see the point. I don't need, interior finish treatments in here. It's just basically got to hold a little heat so I can work in the winter. And partially because, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to sheetrock it. I didn't want to drywall it because that requires further finishing or looks terrible. Plywood, of course, is pretty expensive, so I just never reached that point. Anyways, they got in, they were nesting all up in the ceiling, and I think when I tore it all down, I found a total of about 2 bats of insulation that hadn't been completely shredded and turned into nesting material. It was disgusting, it was nasty, it was nauseating. The vapor barrier had started to come down in some places, and between what was coming down and what was being torn down from the walls, everything was covered in squirrel piss infested nasty bits of insulation, and it was just brutal. So I went to great lengths and spent a lot of time and a lot of effort chasing the squirrels out of here, hunting the squirrels out of here, making it so they can't get back in again. There were, at best estimate, about a dozen of them living up in the attic section, if you want to call it that. And it was just mayhem trying to get them out. Some of them will never reoffend again. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I let a month or two go by from when I was pretty sure I got the last of them out to make sure that, you know, there weren't any remaining that, you know, had just been quiet or hiding, and to make sure that I didn't leave a space where they could get in again that I wasn't aware of. So I gave it a good month or 6 weeks or whatever, just to make sure the place was actually squirrel free. And once I had done that, then I was clear to actually start cleaning up. So my good friend Greg came over and gave me a hand just emptying a bunch of crap out of the way so that, you know, we could start tearing the stuff down from the ceiling. You're going to see more of Greg. He's going to be introduced as a at least a part-time co-host to the channel, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, as you can see, I did some rearranging here as well. Take you around with the camera, I guess. This isn't done, but it's functional. As you can see, I built an extension to the workbench, having moved the workbench, you know, 8 feet down into the corner here. And I don't know if you can see it on camera here, but we'll get to it. My parts washer is now sunk into the bench as opposed to being a standalone unit, saving a little bit of floor space there. I've relocated where the drill press table is, eliminated a shelf or possibly two in the name of just freeing up some floor space, because the idea here is I'd like to be able to, if I have to, get a second tractor in here for, you know, minor work while projects are going on. This whole business about having, you know, a long-running project taking up all available floor space really becomes a pain after a while. You can't do anything else. It's, I guess I'm finishing this project, and any tinkering I got to do has to be done outside, and that kind of sucks because it's winter in Canada. So here we are. So I'm still kind of doing stuff in here, so you're going to see shelves that aren't organized and things where they don't belong, but we're getting there anyways. So as you can see, the workbench has been moved, and I rammed it all the way down into that corner there and built a 4-foot wing coming off it so that I've got a front section, so to speak. And the bench grinder is mounted, the vise is mounted, that sander isn't. I got my air system replumbed and relocated, so I've got the regulators and dryer and oiler up on the wall there and the hose reel. And I've added power points all over the place. So this is kind of the new layout, so to speak. So I've got the drill press stand back here. I was going to eliminate that and decided to keep it instead of having the drill press taking up valuable space on the workbench itself. So of course, storage underneath the benches. I've added power points all over the place. Yes, I still have to get outlet covers. Parts washer. Yeah, cool. I sunk this into the bench. I just move a couple of things here, including these cables. Instead of it taking up a bunch of extra space all on its own, it's now sunk right into the workbench. And I've got the power switch right here for that. And let me see. What else have we got going on? Yeah, so the chemical shelf, as it were, has to get rearranged, but that pretty much stays as it is. And then I've got a part shelf here. And there was actually two. You may recall, you may not. That's okay. I eliminated one just to get it out of the way. Didn't really need the two. Rearranged the location of my toolboxes. I still have to rearrange the tools. But I've got the two toolboxes there. And basically I've just kind of moved them both from here to here. And then stuck the welding table over here. Shop vacs on the other side of the room now. Oh, I've added a garage door opener. Why? Because lazy. Scrap bin still in the same place. But what I did here is the switch for the lights used to be there. Let me move my coat here. And as I said, did a little rewiring. So I've got the garage door opener, the light switch, the timer for the exhaust fan, and another power point there, all there on the opening side of the door, which makes more sense. Got a whole bunch of hardware bins over here by the window. I had one unit sitting on the bench and a second unit that was unbuilt. Combined them both, tacked them to the wall. And, you know, I can just keep nuts and bolts and hardware and screws and parts and pieces in there. The hit and miss had to come in. It has to live inside. The welder is going to reside in that corner for now, I think. It is on a cart. It is on wheels. I can drag it to where I have to. But if I'm just zapping away at some stuff in here, it can probably be there. Yeah, we'll get to this tractor later. On the workbench here, I have the MST 206 that featured the original Dock Locker 2.0. There it is right there. I've had this trans for a number of years, and for the last few years it's been sitting here doing nothing after it got some good use. And it will be going to use again in that blue Ford right there. And the problem that I have with this here Transaxle, believe it or not, was a problem that existed when I built it in the first place. You're going to laugh. Second gear has a missing tooth. There it is, right there. And I knew that when I built the Transaxle, except I did not have a replacement gear. So it was build the Transaxle, put it together, and just simply not use second for fear of, you know, things grenading. And for the amount of time that I did use it, everything was fine with it. Nothing grenaded because I stayed out of second gear. Everything else was working well. I've got a stack of gears over here. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have one with the right tooth count. I could have sworn I did, and damned if I can find it. I think perhaps I had picked them out of there and then set them aside, and the chaos that the shop turned into, they got lost. So I'm going to look around a little bit more, and if I can't find it, excuse me, then I'll come up with a solution, which is probably going to involve converting this to a 5-speed, because it doesn't really need 6. I just want to make sure that since somebody else is going to be using it, they don't inadvertently put it in a gear that it shouldn't be in and blow itself to bits. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Everything else in this thing looks pretty good. Bearings all feel good. And there doesn't seem to be any extraneous wear on anything, including the input bevel gear, which is kind of notorious for getting mangled. Or these gears, the companion gears for it. So everything seems good. So if I can't find the spur gear that I'm looking for, then I'll just eliminate it. Yeah, what the hell, figure I'll show you this before I wrap things up. Okay, so I was absolutely unable to find the spare gear that I was sure I had. It's probably around here somewhere, but, you know, the animals trashed the joint to the point where, you know, it could have got swept up and thrown out. Who knows? Pardon me. So here's what I did. This is the broken second gear, and I've basically just taken it out of the loop completely. It can't be used. I've turned this into a 5-speed, so it's an MST 206 5-speed. So first gear is where it was. Second gear, which is third gear, is now second gear. And fourth is third, and yada, 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 yada. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, effectively. This here is in a placeholder position, and it's literally just taking up space so that these gears can't walk around on the shaft. You could do this with a stack of washers, too, of the right diameter. On this side, let me just pull this shaft out a little bit here. Try and do this jazz one-handed. Get the seal out of the way. Get the bushing out of the way. Get this flat washer out of the way. Yak! It's fallen. Go figure. Okay, so what we have here is this is a shift stop spacer. And this one I sourced from a Peerless 820. I've got some 820 parts. They use these things in everything from 700s all the way up. And what this does is it keeps the shift keys from going any further than the last gear in the stack. A regular washer won't do that. The shift keys will just slide on past it because they slide past washers. So yeah, so that's what's going on there is basically I've just made it so it can't shift past the 5th gear that's there. And presto bingo. That's what we now have, is we have a Peerless MST 206 5-speed. I can get these things to drop in one-handed, which I can't. Awesome. Get in there. Thank you. Drop that in. Index the bushing. Index the seal. And all I've got to do is clean up the case halves and put it back together again. Okay, folks, that kind of brings you up to speed on what's been going on and where we're at right now. As you can probably imagine, 2021 was even more of a gong show for me than you thought. You know, that's because this is what I needed in addition to all the COVID crap that's been screwing everything up for the last 2 years, right? Right, well, here's to 2022, and I want to wish you all a very happy new year. And let's just move forward, get some stuff done, get some projects caught up, get some new projects started, because we can't have too many projects, can we? And we'll see where this all takes us from here. So thanks for tuning into Sprocket's Garage on YouTube, and until next time, take care of yourself.